It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hi, I'm Courtney Forrest.
I'm Tony Schumacher.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan.
This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhart.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event. They are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Castello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Castello.
Hey everybody, happy 2019. Welcome back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro, episode 1 of the new year. Super excited to be back after the holiday break. I've had a lot of you emailing and texting and tweeting like, hey, where are you? And we are now back, baby. We're back with NHRA Nitro for the 2019 season. I'm Joe Castello. If you're a first-time listener, a new listener, and you're just figuring out the whole podcast thing using your mobile device or however you choose to listen, thank you so much for checking us out. You're going to want to click subscribe. We hope you do at some point. This season is going to be mega. We've got so much going on. The Winter Nationals are basically a month away or so, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun. On this particular show, we're going to start the season off with news from Scott Palmer. That's right, the Cat Spot team becoming the Magic Dry team. But really, we're going to go back and debrief on 2018 with Scott, talk a little bit about what they learned, what they're going to be doing, personnel, all that stuff coming up on the show. Also on the show, I have been inundated. I have received many emails and questions and a lot of in-person questions here in sunny South Florida where I happen to be and wherever I go about pro stock. What's happening? What are they doing? Are they trying to kill it? Are they making it better? What's the story? Well, we have got one of the 2019 contenders, Shane Tucker, going to be running a full season in pro stock. We're going to talk with Shane about why he made the decision to expand his season and whether he thinks 2019 is going to be a year that is beneficial and better for pro stock with the 18-race schedule. We've got that coming up on the show. Plus, during my time, I'm going to debrief all of you on some of the things that went down during the winter break. I had a great break. I'm rested and relaxed and invigorated and super stoked about what's going on. Really, I've missed you all. I have missed you so much. I've missed telling you about the great sponsors that make WFO Radio possible. Oh, yeah, that's back. That is back, baby. CatSpotLitter.com. Of course, Palmer's going to be on the show. CatSpot supporting WFO. Of course, Magic Dry as well. Rodax, CoffeeAndGrills.com. Marvin Rodak got some reports from Marvin Rodak that over the holidays, the WFO listeners were ordering up the holiday packs. Just because it's no longer the holidays doesn't mean you don't need great coffee and hot sauce and spice rub and all that great stuff. So check it out. Rodax, CoffeeAndGrills.com. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. May 2019 be the year you got on board with the Dragster Adventure. Samtech.edu for you young folks out there who are thinking about getting involved in the world of motorsports or CNC machining or machining in general. Samtech got a great program. We're going to be talking about the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown a lot as it becomes a premier category in NHRA drag racing in the drag racing universe. Motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan and the team over there. Amelie Motor Oil, motorsportsguys.com. Hangstifer's Metalworking Lubricants and audible.com/WFO Nitro, making this show possible. Super stoked about it, baby. And I know you are ready and excited to go here in 2019. You know who else is ready to go? Joining us now for the first time in 2019. We've got a whole season ahead of us. I know he's been hoping for it, and here it comes. Alan Reinhart joins us now. Alan, welcome back. Happy New Year.
Come on, Pomona.
Come on, Pomona. I'm with you.
Yet?
It practically is, though. I'm thinking about it. Travel is in, and everything is going on, and people are getting ready, and news is breaking, and stories are happening, and rumors are out there. So, yes, it's coming.
Okay, I can't get here soon enough for me. You know, I've been trying to get hashtag Come On Pomona trending since about the day after the banquet. I don't do well in the winter break, especially when I don't have a designated project to work on. I've had a couple of things I've been playing with, but nothing to completely fill up my calendar. So I do have some calendar filters coming up this month, though, and that's going to help.
Well, there you go. No, that is good. Things, it's amazing. There's nothing and then there's everything from one day to the next. I'm feeling it a little bit myself, but just excited, just pumped up. I'm hoping that the fans feel the same way here on our first WFO of 2019, our 10th season of the WFO podcast. Just seeing the news like take shape. Who's going where? Brogdon's coming back in a Mustang. Brian Hewson going to Scrappers. We got to talk about all of this. Angel on a Harley. Just so many stories. But the one that I'm very excited about, new concrete at Gainesville Raceway. How cool is that?
Sure, just because it's your home track and
Yep.
you feel, I honestly believe that if you thought you could got away with it, you would change Gainesville Raceway and put up a sign that says Castello Raceway, just because you've been going there for so long and you consider that your place, and you got a lot to be proud of down there. That's a heck of a facility, obviously, and all the history that's been made there. And, I think over the last couple of years, surfaces get worn out, just like roads get worn out. And when you're trying to put down as much power as we are, and NHRA is going to spend a year leading up to and building up and telling everybody you need to come to Gainesville for the 50th and you need to meet the legends and you need to see it. They want to make sure they're doing everything possible to make that a spectacular race that people will be talking about for the next 50 years. And I applaud the fact that, that's obviously a huge investment for any company to go in and put down 1,320 feet of concrete and, basically rip it up and have at it. And I think, the timing obviously is great. It makes me even more excited to be going to the 50th, and I didn't know that I could get more excited about going to the 50th.
Well, exactly. They did. This is a perfect example. If you see the message boards, which I don't go on, but I hear about, people always want to take shots, but it's a huge investment, and it's doing the right thing for the fans. Just like you said, you built this event up, and now everybody knows you're going to have a hopefully premier surface at a premier track. You mentioned all my years in a row. This will be my 40th. It's the 50th of the Gator Nationals. It is my personal 40th. I missed 10 at the very beginning, and it was a record-breaking track. Yeah, I know. I know. I can blame my dad for that one. Dad, it's your fault. But it was a record-breaking track. Think of all the records and all the milestones and things that we saw for a large portion of that. And then this particular surface that we have at this particular moment, it wasn't conducive to the record-breaking performances we had seen over the years. I'm really hoping to get back to that record-breaking track, the milestone track that I grew up with.
I think that's absolutely going to happen. The technology continues. And even when it comes to laying concrete, there is a specific recipe for racetrack concrete. And it's not the same as highway concrete or bridge concrete or, hey, I'm building a new house concrete. There is a specific recipe that has been tweaked and adjusted over the years. And also, the technology for laying down concrete. Think about the two most recently concreted new tracks out there. We went to Vegas 4-wide, and what did everybody say? That's the smoothest racetrack we've ever been on ever. And it's simply because the technology of putting concrete down has gotten better. And then we go to Virginia, which was newly concreted, and what did everybody say? That's absolutely the smoothest, most incredible surface ever. And all of that knowledge that has been learned over the years is obviously going to be put to use in putting down the Gainesville surface. And I would not be the least bit surprised if Friday night, when you're down at the end of the track, you have driver after driver get out of the race car and go, that's the smoothest racetrack I've ever been on. So, NHRA is making a huge investment to make this happen because, I assume most people know, but that's one of the facilities that NHRA corporately owns. And so it's their investment, it's their decision, it's their money being spent, and they want to do the right thing for the fans, not just for the 50th, but for the 50th and beyond.
Excellent. And we have put in a request, and at some point, I think, Ned Walliser from NHRA or someone is going to come on the show and give us a little more detail about what's going on. But I just love seeing the photographs, and based on what was learned in Vegas and out there in Richmond, I'm hoping for a great surface and a great race. This past weekend, we have as everyone has, local car shows, but one of our local car shows has been going going around for 12, 15 years. The Daryl Gwynn Show of Shows, with all the benefits going to, the Bonacani Fund and the Daryl Gwynn chapter. This has been going on for a long time. But anyway, Daryl Gwynn was out there, and everyone was buzzing about the track walk already. And they were doing wristbands because it goes to the charity, of course. And we had a crowd of, hundreds and hundreds of people, and they were all very amped up, like we were talking in a group setting, about the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gator National. So here in South Florida, and we're about a 4.5-hour drive away, we're already buzzing about it. We're already thinking about the East Coast opener, which is very cool.
You hit it right on the head, the East Coast opener, not just down south of the racetrack and not just in Florida, but literally all the way up to, Epping, New Hampshire, and up where Loans lives. I guarantee you, everybody up there that's been shoveling snow and looking at the forecast and doing the stuff is tearing pages off their calendar, waiting for the opportunity to go south, to get some in warm weather, and to get down and get some racing going again. I'm fortunate you're in the same boat when you live in the southern part of the country. We're racing. It's 73 degrees here in Tucson today, and we raced last weekend and we raced the weekend before, and, there's bracket activity and a lot of stuff going on. Our stuff isn't necessarily packed away for the winter, but people that live up in the northern part and in the snow country, their stuff is. It's all buttoned up and either stuck in the trailer or stuck in the garage. And everybody looks forward to Gainesville for an opportunity to bring their cars out and get back after it. And that's just one more thing that makes that race so special. Just like everybody waits for Pomona to kick off the season, everybody on the East Coast waits for Gainesville to kick off their season.
Absolutely. And, of course, a construction project leading off 2019 WFO NHRA Nitro, but a lot of other stuff. And we're going to get to it. We're going to tick them off. But I really think the Angel, I know it's another Gainesville thing, right, when the bikes come out at the East Coast opener. Mm-hmm. But Angel going to be on a Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson for some races. That one got everybody very excited.
Who saw that coming?
Not me.
I mean, I don't know anybody, and I do spend some time on the internet and looking at the message boards and doing stuff, and there's always all this wacky stuff, right? Joe Castello is going to be the new crew chief for Tony Schumacher next year. Yeah, sure he is. And I mean, nobody would have ever dreamed that up. Nobody would have believed it if you'd have posted it as a rumor. But I think it's great. I think Angel, her skills and abilities are absolutely unquestionable. Just look at her record and look at what she's done. Put her on a competitive motorcycle, and she's going to go out there and get the job done for you, no question about it. And I think, with more and more females, I think, are buying Harleys. I think that's a group, a customer base that I don't want to say was being ignored, but could be reached better. Hey, there's no better way to tell the ladies out there that, you should be on your own Harley, not on the back of somebody else's, than to put Angel or a female rider on one of your race bikes and say, if she can do it, so can you. I think it's, as I understand it, it's a 4-race, kind of a trial. They're going to float a trial balloon and see what happens. But I'm hoping that feedback from the fans, particularly the female fans, is very strong, and the success, she's going to be on a good bike. And anytime she's been on a good bike, what she's been capable of. The dynamic that I think is going to be so interesting is she and Eddie have had a great little, I don't know if rivalry is the right word, but there certainly has been plenty of chirping going on at the end of the racetrack and in the staging lanes and other places. And the fact that they're now both going to be in the same trailer, I think that should be very interesting.
I agree. That was the first thing that I thought of because, first of all, the pro stock motorcycle category, in my opinion, has really found the, the rivalry / smack talk, but we all get along friendly most of the time, balance. Probably better than every other category. And Eddie and Angel are nonstop back and forth at each other, and now they're racing together.
But I also think part of that dynamic, you look at professional sports, okay? If I'm a cornerback and you're a wide receiver, and we go up against each other every week, you know what? There's going to be some rivalry there. There's going to be some chirping. There's going to be, and I'm good with that. I think that, it gets the fans engaged and gets people involved. Now, if you get traded and you come to my team, I want you to succeed greatly. because, it's just a different dynamic. It was never personal. It was business. It was me against you. And if me and you are on the same team, now let's go see if we can help each other and move the team forward. And that's, I think, what the mentality is going to be over there.
Yes. Very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to it. Now, on this show, we got Scott Palmer coming on. We got Shane Tucker, both, Palmer back this year. He's got Magic Dry on board. Shane Tucker, full season pro stock, going to explain about why the schedule change actually caused him to invest more in the sport. So we're seeing a lot of great stuff. Roger Brogdon just been announced, newest member of Elite's pro stock team, and most importantly, in my opinion, will be running a Mustang. So we'll have at least one out there.
No, I'm all for it. Derek Kramer also publicly has said that he's in for a full season this year. And, I think it obviously was not an easy decision to cut the schedule from 24 races back to 18 races. But at least here now, early on, it's doing what they wanted to do. It's getting people that didn't have the time to invest, had the money to invest, or had the program, or had the part, or had the car, or had the whatever, but didn't have the time to invest. And it's getting those people to make a commitment because they can make an 18-race commitment a whole lot easier than they can make a 24-race commitment. And I think it's great. I believe the official count now is, 13 or 14 full-time cars out there. And we know that there's enough part-time cars to be sure that we'll have full fields, at least I expect us to, everywhere we go. And I think that's exactly what the class needed. If we get to the point where, okay, we've got 18 full-time touring cars, say, and then they look at, do we want to expand? Do we want to move back? Maybe add two more, going down the line and see where it goes. But, NHRA was certainly not abandoning pro stock. NHRA was not trying to kill pro stock. NHRA didn't want it to die off. They wanted to make it healthy again. And as difficult as the move was to cut the schedule, at least here early on, it looks like it's doing just what the doctor ordered, and I hope it continues.
Absolutely. And, in my travels, people ask me about pro stock, like this question. My bracket race buddies, when I was racing at the Citrus Nationals, at this car show this past week, the question that I get more often than any other question is, what are they doing with pro stock? Are they trying to kill pro stock? Exactly what you just laid out there, right? Like the spectrum of possibilities. And seeing what's happening, it's like, okay, we lose 6 races, sure. But if we have 18 healthy races with people coming in and a couple of Mustangs and some rivalry between manufacturers, that is what we need, and that is good news. So I'm looking forward to it. Looks like it's so far so good.
I would love for the buzz to get to the point that Mopar sees that now as something willing to invest in, or Ford sees that as something willing to invest in, and not necessarily just bodywork, but getting back into building engines. I'd love to see more Hemis out there. I'd love to see more variety, but the class needs to be healthy. And I think, and this is strictly my opinion, but I think when you look at Pro Mod, why is Pro Mod so healthy? There are a number of really successful business people out there that are racing not as a full-time vocation, but as a sideline. They have to take care of their business. They don't have 24 or 26 weekends a year to invest in going racing, but they want to come out, they want to race, they want to be competitive, and they don't want to run 24 races. They've been very vocal about that. So then you look at pro stock, and how many teams are out there that is actually their vocation. That's their job. That's their living. How many teams are doing that versus how many racers are very successful business people that have racing for a sideline? And if it comes down to, we've got to either take care of business or go racing, they've got to take care of business. Now, that's been a big problem with the class over the last few years, is that more and more of the racers, that has not been their primary source of income. It has not been their job is to go out and race pro stock, and they simply couldn't make the commitment to a full season. You look at a guy like Chris McGahey, who's doing all of his own stuff out of his own shop, but he's not racing to make a living. He's got to be home to take care of business and simply can't put in the time that it takes to go to 24 races. But if you cut the schedule back, now hopefully he can arrange his schedule and his projects at home so that he can go out and run the full 24 or the full 18 event schedule get us some more healthy car counts again, get some people back involved. And, Roger Brogdon coming off the sidelines, I think, is a perfect example of that.
And, the word on the street, the pipeline, the rumor mill says that there may be more coming, and that's what we want. Now, that having all been said, I don't think I don't want the NHRA, if I'm going to politic a little bit, and I like to think that someone out there in Glendora listens to the show every now and again. Like, I hope they should continue going, continue making moves to make the category as strong as possible, whatever those agreed upon moves are. But I'm glad that they did this and that people are interested and they're coming their way. All right, let's move over to Top Fuel. Brian Hughes and Alan Johnson.
One last pro stock note, if you don't mind, Joe.
Of course.
For years, if you didn't have a pro stock engine program, you weren't going to be racing for a championship. There were a couple of guys out there that were leasing motors, but it was pretty clear that if you were leasing a motor, you were going to be a mid-pack competitive car. You weren't going to be a championship car. And the owners that are out there, the guys that are leasing the engines, realized that was not sustainable. Because if you're spending the money to come out and do this, you want to have a shot at winning races. You want to have a shot at winning championships. You're not just out there to, have fun. And so the engine suppliers, and I'm talking about the Elite Motorsports, the KB guys, Gray, all got together or separately said, we need to do this for the health of the class. And what we've seen over the course of the last 5 or 6 years is an engine lease customer can win races, can win championships, and that has made the investment a lot easier. You look back, how did Mike Edwards win a championship? Started his own engine shop. Roger Brogdon, when he I just went blank, the Louisiana oil guy.
Steve Kent.
When those two were teamed up and they wanted to make a championship push, what did they do? They made a huge investment, opened their own engine shop. That's what you had to do. Elite Motorsports, when they wanted to win a championship, made a huge investment, opened your own engine shop. That was the only way to do it, and that really thins the number of people that are willing to make that kind of investment in time and money to go racing, especially if it's not their main business. But now, when a guy like Roger Brogdon can call Elite and say, I need horsepower, and get horsepower that will win races, that it will contend for a championship, that all of a sudden makes it a whole lot more palatable than, okay, I've got to hire a dozen guys and buy $2 million worth of equipment and find a building and go do all this stuff myself in order to be competitive. So I think, I think at least the tip of the cap needs to go to the guys who are supplying the horsepower and guys that are willing to give somebody enough horsepower to run with and beat them. And I think that goes a long way towards helping the class now, too.
No, I agree completely. Can't help but think about Bo Butner, who won the championship, defeated Greg Anderson and with Greg's own horsepower, and then, was going to leave, but now he's back because of the 18-race schedule. We're going to speak with Bo in the coming weeks. But, no, I agree. It should be about the racing and the tuning and space programs to find a quarter of a horsepower. If we can keep that within certain buildings that then provide it to others, maybe we found something that can work.
Right on.
All right. Okay, Brian Hewson, Alan Johnson to Scrappers Racing. Now, a lot of people who listen to the show know there's always, rumors, and we don't really delve into rumors without saying, hey, this is a rumor out in front. But Alan Johnson leaving John Force Racing at the end of last year with Brittany Force, that was kind of circulating, but now it's official. Mike Salinas, who... this guy is a baller. He comes into the sport. He decides, wow, this is the place I want to be with my family. It's a good environment. We're all together. We're racing together. This is a future for us. He's very successful. And you can tell why. He goes out there and gets the best stuff, not just equipment, but people. And so I'm excited about what's going to happen with Mike Salinas and this Scrappers Racing team in 2019.
Yeah, they are as well. That was, internally, that was talked about quite a bit when it was known that Alan was not going to return to JFR next year. And that's not a bad blood thing. It's just, hey, they had a contract for this long and the contract ran and both decided that it was time to do something different. Alan had been helping Mike Salinas, at least peripherally, for the last season or the last season and a half. And, had a consulting agreement with them, working with Doug Cook and the guys. And, the next step, if you're Mike Salinas, is, okay, I want to be your main focus. And that comes with, all right, you know who Alan's right-hand man is. It's been Brian Hewson for a number of years. Put him in charge. And bringing in a new crew chief is just like a football team bringing in a new head coach. If you come in, and if you want your offensive coordinator, you bring your offensive coordinator. If you want your defensive line coach, you bring in your defensive line coach. No matter the personnel that's there, if you have a team in place that you trust that you want to bring, the crew chief in every dynamic I know, the crew chief hires the crew. Because if you're in charge of making the car run, the owner's not going to give you any excuses. You know, it's like, well, geez, my clutch guy wouldn't have made the mistake that guy did. That's why we lost the race. No, if you want your clutch guy, you hire your clutch guy. And they've got a tremendous team in place that have all worked for Brian and Alan for a number of years. They obviously like working there. They like the environment. You know, the Army team followed Alan to Alanabi, and then they followed him over to Forces this last year. And now most of the team, if not all, is going to follow them over, and they're going to run the Scrappers car. So there'll be a lot of familiar faces all working together, and that's all part of the dynamic. You know, you don't have to get new team members working with each other and learning each other's habits, and, you know, everything from who's going to room with who on the road. I mean, all of those dynamics go into doing this, but when you bring in the entire team, like it sounds like they're going to do, they're going to be ready to go. You know, they're in the shop right now working, getting ready, and getting all the pieces in place to, you know, start the attack in Pomona. I think Mike Salinas just moved even higher than he already was on the who's going to be the next first-time top fuel winner list, because he will win before the end of the season. Mark my words.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. How can it not happen, right? At least on paper. And just very exciting, all the moving and maneuvering. We're still waiting for some announcements. I'm not going to delve into those kind of rumors because, you know, personnel on other teams, like I prefer to let them sort it out. I know you've been doing this for a while. There are some things we may or may not have discussed, like, you know, Mike Green going to Bob Tasca. That's interesting. Blake Alexander not going to be with Bob Vandergriff Racing. These are official. These are not rumors. These are things that happened during our winter break. So there's been a lot of jockeying and moving around in this, you know, what we call silly season.
If you've got a team in place and you're looking to shore it up a little bit, you know, I think we've all learned over the course of the last probably decade or so, and it started before that there's just so much stuff going on with a nitro car right now. It's very difficult, if not impossible, for one guy to be able to keep an eye on everything, and you need as many good brains as you can possibly get. When Eric Lane came over and started working on Tasca's car, and he certainly had some good guys under him, but, you know, more brain power is always better. And Mike Green, who has not been in a crew chief position for the last few years, but has certainly still been involved and still keeps up with all the day-to-day stuff, you know, the availability was there for him to come over and help. And why wouldn't you make that move? You know, bring another guy who has got championship credentials and who is a very smart guy, just to come over and add another brain to your lounge. It certainly isn't going to hurt anything. I thought the Blake Alexander thing was interesting, especially since my understanding is that he left without necessarily a clear path of where he was going. But, you know, there's in my life, and I have no inside information. I have not talked to Bob. I have not talked to Blake. But in my life, there's only been two reasons I've ever left a job. One was because I had a better job someplace, and two was because, for whatever reason, I wasn't comfortable where I was. And, you know, you look at Blake, and it looks like he left without having a clear path. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what the dynamic was, but there must have been something that made him feel not comfortable staying there. So he called Bob and said, look, I want to do something else. And Bob said, okay, fine. And they went their separate ways. And that was, you know, basically straight from Bob Vandergriff when he did an interview with, I believe, Comp Plus. So, you know, we're still kind of waiting to hear. There have been some rumors about where Blake's going to end up. You know, Bob Vandergriff now has a absolute proven race-winning car sitting there empty, and I think you're going to hear an announcement about that probably within the next 2 weeks tops.
Wow. Well, exactly, and it's crazy how the sport works, and I know you've been around it for a long time, and it's like this biosphere, you know, like I think about Nick Casertano, who was on Tasca's car, and he's no longer there, but now he's at Cruise. And you know what I mean? The way information and experience moves through the pit area. It's a very interesting thing, that way it all works out. Another car and driver combination that is parting ways, Peyton Racing and Sean Reed. They've had I would call it good, solid success. The Gator Nationals last year, Sean Reed did real well, but they are both going in their own directions, but have both committed to competing at some point during the season. So it's just weird and fun to watch it all kind of move around.
Well, and I think obviously everybody is everybody that's making the move, especially if you're the guy that has the money coming with you. With Blake, Pronto's Service Center has been with him for a long time. He's got some other companies that wherever he lands, I'm sure that they will end up on the side of their car. Hughes Oilfield Transportation has been helping out with Sean Reed for a number of years, including his boat racing exploits, and I'm sure that they'll go with him wherever he ends up landing. And whether he was looking at, maybe doing more of a full-time thing than the Paytons were willing to do or what, I don't know that either. But, I think he's obviously looking for some kind of an expansion of what he was doing, whether it's a schedule expansion or whether he feels like he can get a car that has a better chance of winning on a regular basis. Maybe that's possible. And that leaves the Payton car open. It wouldn't surprise me, as we've seen with that car over the last couple of years, if more than one person drives it, because that has proven to be a really good car for somebody to get in, get a license, get some experience, get some laps. It's not a car that's going to go out and qualify number one and set a record, but it's a car that way more often than not is going to make a nice, clean run down the racetrack, and there's something to be said for getting some laps under your belt when you're starting to do this. So it wouldn't surprise me, as I said, to see more than one person drive that car during the course of the year. If you can put together the financing for one event or two events, or you've got, WFO radios based in South Florida, we would like to have a presence at the Gator Nationals. That's the only race that's really important to us because we got friends and family there. Where can I find a good, solid car that's odds-on favorite, is going to qualify and potentially go some rounds for a one-race deal? Well, you know what? Call Todd Payton, because he's got a really good car and a good team there, and that's a good, safe bet that you're not going to have to invest $1 million in.
There you go. Simple as that. And I think Todd wants to drive a little himself this year, and so
absolutely.
We will see. We will see how it all works out. It's still a while away. We mentioned the Gator Nationals a while, but that will be the opener for the Pro Mod season. Ricky Smith, turbocharged Pro Mod. Wow. He's been threatening. He's been threatening for a long
next?
time.
Angel on a Harley? Come on, man. Who's going to buy that?
Exactly. What's with the nonsense? How about Tricky Ricky going to bust out the turbos?
And I think that's going to be fun to watch as well. I think the biggest adjustment for Ricky Smith is going to be working with Steve Petty. And I've worked with Ricky Smith. He was a big part of our team when I was working with David on the Pro Stock cars. He was a crew chief and did a lot of the test driving. And, I literally have worked side by side with Ricky Smith. And I think the biggest problem that he's going to have is not being the crew chief. I think that's going to drive him crazy because he is a hands-on guy. He's not afraid to work on every aspect of the car, and he's not afraid to go out of the box and try things, and he's not afraid to, just literally get wacky sometimes to try some stuff. But he has said that Steve Petty's coming in. Steve Petty's going to do the tuning. He's going to take care of that. Ricky's going to do the chassis and stuff, and that's the way it's going to evolve. But I think it's going to really drive him crazy if Steve Petty says, this is what we're going to do, and Ricky says, I want to do something else. And Steve says, no, this is my job. You get in and drive the car. I think that's going to be the biggest adjustment. I think he's going to be able to make it happen. I'm not saying that. But I just think that's going to be the biggest adjustment for Ricky, is he has always been in charge of everything. And to now have to basically pass that off to somebody else, pass off a big part of the responsibility to somebody else, is going to be an adjustment for him.
Yeah, he's going to have a little more time at the track, which will be very interesting to see how it all plays out, but that is very cool. Now, something we did, I've used the word rumors a couple of times here. There is a press release out that's on several of the sites, including Drag Racing Edge and others, about Team Aruba, a mountain motor pro stock team readying for 2019 tour, including 4 NHRA national events. Now, Alan, I hadn't yet heard. I had heard that there would maybe be some mountain motor exhibitions, but I had never heard specific events. This particular story mentions some events, including the 4-wide, Dallas, Epping, and Bristol. I haven't heard an official announcement. Perhaps I missed it, but it is kind of interesting that there may be some mountain motor pro stock at some races.
I haven't seen anything official either. The first I saw that was on Bobby's website on competitionplus.com, and it was posted there as a rumor. You know what? Bring them. I think great. The NHRA over the course of the past couple of years has been reaching out to other entities that historically have not been a part of NHRA. You know, whether it's the Redemption folks down in Texas, or whether it's the big and small tire radial guys up in New Hampshire, or whether it's, you know, the Mountain Motor Pro Stock guys. But the fact that the communication is there and that the door is open, and, you know, NHRA for a number of years, it's like, this is what we race. If you want to race in NHRA, you must race one of these things. And, you know, basically everything else was ignored. But I think the fact that just the communication is open, and that some of these other entities are having an opportunity. You know, Brian Lones and I went down through the Mountain Motor Pits and spoke to everybody when they were in Indy last year for their exhibition. And I know you went down and talked to a number of the guys as well. And every single one of them, the first thing out of their mouth was, thank you for having us here. Thank you for letting us come be a part of NHRA, even though it was just a one-shot exhibition. And you know what? Why wouldn't you invite them to come back again? They're great cars. They're great guys. They got some tremendous personalities over there. And you know what? 620s with a freaking naturally aspirated door car is pretty darn impressive in my book. Bring them.
Exactly. Nope, totally agree. Totally agree. Great stuff, Alan. I appreciate it. Now, from what I understand, and this is another rumor, that you have got a big trip coming up in the next couple of weeks. Is this something you can share with our audience at this moment?
It's top secret, Joe.
I know. Can you share it?
No, of course not. Let's just wait and spring it on them in an upcoming. That'll make people have to tune in and keep checking out WFO Radio. They can, you know, if you want to find out what Alan's going to do between now and Pomona, you're just going to have to tune in every Tuesday and download and listen and figure it out.
There you go. And it will
maybe we'll do a Where's Waldo thing.
It's right. Like, where is he in the world? And I don't want to say too much. I don't want to accidentally reveal it. But we will look forward to that, and it's going to be great. And everybody, yes, you need to download and log on and click subscribe right now. Just do it, because you're not going to want to miss it. It is going to be very, very cool. Alan, great job. Is there anything that we needed to touch on that we somehow omitted in this rapid-fire, free-flowing segment that is the beginning of WFO Nitro?
No, I think we got most of it, especially the stuff that is official. There are still, you know, some moves being made, still some pieces that haven't quite fallen in place yet. You know, just keep paying attention. There's going to be some more announcements coming in the next few weeks. There's a lot going on out there right now, so everybody's just kind of getting their plans finalized, whether it's sponsorship or whether it's personnel or, you know, whether it's whatever. But, you know, Pomona's sneaking up on us, and everybody's got to get those things in place here pretty quick. Yes,
that is a fact. And I guess, you know, Ashley Sanford making the final round down under is something we should talk about a little bit at Willowbank at the New Year Thunder meeting, runner-up to Kelly Bettis. But cool that Ashley is getting more laps. Every time she goes down under, she's coming back with more experience.
Well, one thing you have to say about Ashley is that she is a fan favorite, even when she's not driving the car. You know, when she's been at NHRA events, even when she's just been there as a spectator or just there hanging out, she's a fan favorite. You know, very friendly, very well-spoken, very attractive young lady that hopefully is going to have a big, long future in the sport. And, you know, down in Australia, she's as big a hit as she is here. You know, the fans just love her. And part of that is because of the personality, because of she doesn't work on the car, which gives her plenty of time to interact with the fans, to hang out, to sign autographs, to take pictures, to do whatever. And she loves doing that stuff. You know, how many times have you gone by wherever and said, where's Ashley? Oh, you know, she's up in the lounge watching TV. That never happens.
Never.
Right? If she's at the racetrack, she's out. She's meeting people. And that's why the fans love her.
Simple as that. Yeah, all-female final round down under. Kind of cool. Alan, great job as usual. Happy New Year to you. I'm very excited here on NHRA Nitro #1 for 2019. I know we're going to have, you know, the ebbs and flows and the ups and the downs of a new Mellow Yellow Series season, and I am looking forward to it. What's that hashtag you're trying to get started?
Come on, Pomona.
There you have it. Let's get it going. Alan, thank you so much.
Hey, Joe, thank you. And before I hang up, congratulations. 10 years, the WFO podcast. And I know you had a long history with Sirius and XM Radio and stuff before that, but 10 years doing the podcast, I don't think there's a whole lot of them that have been around that long and are still going strong. So congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you for being a big part of that. And, you know, all of our guests over the years, yeah, looking back when you hit a milestone like this is our 10th year doing this. Why am I doing it? And the answer is because it's fun, and the people we have encountered, both like yourself and the racers on the air and the listeners who come up to me at the track, they keep it going. It's just a positive energy, and I appreciate all that you have put in time, effort, and information. And it wouldn't have been the same without you.
My pleasure, Joe. Already looking forward to next week.
There you go. Thanks, Alan.
All right.
There he goes, the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart. He is super stoked. Let's go, Pomona. Come on, Pomona. See, that's why you can't get a hashtag going, because I'm already messing it up, right? 1 second later. But that's all right. We're gonna keep on moving, baby. We're gonna keep on moving. Yeah, it would have been nice for Ashley Sanford to get the big win down there, down under. But that's not really the way I'm looking at her evolution. I'm looking at her evolution as in, they say you need to get 100 laps in a top fuel car or a nitro car as rapidly as possible if you really want to get up to speed. That's what I hear. And she's working it. She's getting close, if not coming close. Not quite to 100 yet, I doubt, but maybe closing in on 50. We'll have to reach out to Ashley and find out exactly how many runs she has made. Scott Palmer, Shane Tucker coming up on the show. Later on, I'll delve into some thoughts about all that is going on in the world of drag racing, the Gator Nationals, the concrete track, all that stuff. Everybody's so excited about what is coming up in 2019 in all categories. I know you're going to be out there. But right now, I want to tell you about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and the Dragster Adventure. This year, you got to drive a dragster, right? You got to drive a dragster. Everybody is always trying to come up with something cool and fun to do. An experience that's worth it. And that's what the Dragster Adventure is. It's cool and fun to do, and it's worth it. Something that you're going to remember forever, an experience that may lead to other experiences. Give them a call, 866-480-7223. They also do licensing courses. They also have a whole raft of programs that can help you as a bracket racer. Maybe you want to get your top alcohol license. Maybe you want to learn to drive a top dragster. You can do any of these things. Give them a call. Go to the website. Check them out. 866-480-7223. But I always push the Dragster Adventure because it is the easiest, most affordable, simplest way to show up at a track. They go all around the country, so they might even be coming nearby you, to get in a quick and fast race car, 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds or 3 seconds. 130 miles per hour in the quarter mile. Rear engine dragster. That is the thrill of it all. You get to experience and feel something amazing. People go on these like exotic car driving experiences. And to me, that is not nearly as cool as driving a dragster. What's more exotic than that? 866-480-7223. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. One of our great listeners during the winter break told me that he's going and he signed up and he's ready and he mentioned the show. And that just heartened me. I was like, oh, thank goodness. They mention WFO, and it's as simple as that. And that's what keeps our sponsors coming back, because so many people, they mention, hey, I heard it on WFO. Thank you for doing that. 866-480-7223. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. When we come back, it's going to be Scott Palmer, Magic Dry, Cat Spot. We'll find out exactly what Scott's got going on after this.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, racers and race fans, I want to tell you about the motorsports guys. Terry McMillan from Elkhart, Indiana, has got a new venture, and we want you to hit the website at motorsportsguys.com. It's going to be a one-stop shop. They're going to have it all, but most importantly, oil, Amalie, better than it has to be since 1903, available at motorsportsguys.com. Check it out. Bookmark it, motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan stepping up as a supporter of WFO Radio. Check them out, motorsportsguys.com.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the blockhead and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
Hussey Performance Copper Head Gaskets. you got to call David directly, 724-318-8292. Hussey Performance, copper head gaskets for you engine builders out there. These guys are supporting WFO. Check them out. It is husseyperformance.net. Drag Racing Edge. That's the magazine. Subscribe online. Get the issues, $24.95. Keep up with your favorite sport, whether it be NHRA Mellow Yellow, Lucas Oil Series action. They cover drag radial. They cover it all. Drag Racing Edge magazine.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back to NHRA Nitro. The NHRA Nitro podcast been going for 10 years. 10 years. And it's been, has it been up and down? It hasn't been up and down. It's been mostly up. We've got a great story, and we've been around for a long time, and we've been growing the audience, and the podcast listening audience is just growing and growing and exploding, and there are so many people that just had no idea that this thing is even out there. Not NHRA Nitro or Joe Castello or anything like that. I mean, audio content that you can listen to for free delivered to your mobile device. There are thousands and thousands, probably millions and millions of people who are really just figuring all this out. And I like to think we're part of it. Hopefully you are telling your friends and snatching their device and subscribing to WFO and telling them to listen and helping them out. Hopefully you're doing that. All of our diehard listeners are doing that. And we are seeing it, and we appreciate it, and we want you to know that leading up to the Winter Nationals, we're going to be here every week. The Ignition Show got started off earlier this week. A whole lot of fun, just kind of kicking it. And there's going to be a lot of great entertainment over the course of the 2019 season. But right now I want to tell you about catspotlitter.com. If you've got a cat, go to catspotlitter.com. Do it now. Check out the website. It's all natural. It's biodegradable. It's a renewable resource. It doesn't smell. It soaks up more than 560%. It comes in the mail. You don't have to carry a big bag around. You can just subscribe. Depending on how many cats you've got, you can get it. catspotlitter.com. Go to the website, check it out. Of course, they help out our next guest, Scott Palmer. But also there is Magic Dry, which is like an industrial product. You can use it in the garage. You can use it in the shop. But large companies who need a product that will absorb, an absorbent product that will absorb anything, Magic Dry is the product. So go to catspotlitter.com. Check out all the information. If you've got a cat, support drag racing by getting Cat Spot. Simple as that. Your cat's going to love it and certainly won't care. Like, whatever. Cats are like, that's why people have cats, because they don't really care. catspotlitter.com. Getting back after it here with WFO Radio Podcast. I am so excited about so many things, in fact. And before the Pomona Winter Nationals, I'm going to have said that I'm excited about a million things, a million times. One of the things I am very excited about is this next driver. He's going to be getting back after it. Scott Palmer joins us now with a new sponsor we will all have to relearn, and that sponsor is
Magic Dry.
Magic Dry. How you doing, Scott? Happy New Year.
I'm doing great. Happy New Year to everybody. And it's actually not a new sponsor. It's actually the kind of the sister product of Cat Spot. So we'll still be carrying both the Cat Spot logo and Magic Dry, but we're gonna do some serious promoting on Magic Dry because it's a great product, an unbelievable absorbent. And we've got a bunch of industries looking at the oil field industry, and I mean a whole bunch of things going on right now that's pretty exciting with the company.
That is great. And as Cat Spot came on board, we all were surprised. Like, wow, cat litter made out of coconuts. Who knew? And they were with you for a while. But then as soon as you started to make and build awareness of this other product, it seems like a perfect fit for car guys, drag racers, shop owners. Not everybody has a cat, but all the drag racers, we all need to clean up something in our garage.
That's true, and actually, it's more of an industrial product. It's great for everything you just mentioned, but this product soaks up. It's better in a diesel mechanic shop or a big industry because it soaks up antifreeze. It soaks up, any kind of fluid. Like regular oil dry only soaks up oil. It doesn't soak up antifreeze. So, we've got it on fire trucks. We've got it on fire departments. We've got a lot of stuff going on. It soaks up, battery acid, antifreeze, water. We got it in chicken slaughterhouses and stuff because it soaks up any liquid. It's an unbelievable product. It's hard to believe it works as good. So I'm excited because it's really easy to push a product that works so good. The Cat Spot deal sold itself too. I mean, we really made some ground on that, and that's why we decided to come out, and the business is growing. So the absorbent side of this business is going to be huge. It's going to be big.
Very exciting, very exciting. So the big, title sponsor change or switch to Magic Dry with Scott Palmer Racing, going to be very exciting. Let's talk a little bit about your 2018 season. Let's look back. My read, and I want to know what your feeling is. You finished 10th in 2017. You finished 10th in 2018. But my read is that your 2018 season was much better than your 2017 season. You just didn't seem to get any luck and came out on the short end of a couple of thou here, a couple of thou there throughout the countdown. What say you?
That's exactly what happened. And the competition was tougher this year. We had Mike Salinas out there full time last year, and that's a Alan Johnson tuned car. That's a tough car. So you added a full-time car out there last year, and it was an Alan Johnson tuned car, and obviously Mike Salinas can get it done. So that made it tougher. And then, in the countdown and throughout the year, I'll be real honest with you, we're a part-time team our whole life, struggling, we're just, raking and scraping to get by. So I'll be real honest, we're learning how to win rounds, and we lost a few rounds by just not being experienced, and it wasn't really some of the losses we had. 3,000 to Schumacher. We had a small issue on that run that we would have won that run. We had a issue at Sonoma racing Blake Alexander, and he didn't run that good the run we raced him, but we smoked the tires because our fuel checker was reading wrong and gave it 1% too much nitro and it smoked the tires. I mean, we just had some things happen that would not have happened if we had known it was possible, or if we'd checked it, at the shop or something. So we're learning, and we're taking notes, and we're learning the mistakes not to make, because that's just as important as running fast.
Well, it so much is, and the audience, they get to hear us talk for 15 minutes about it, but I can think of a couple of examples, and you'll remember exactly where it was. You ended up shredding a blower belt on the starting line after a great qualifying effort in the first session, if I recall. And so then the second session, or the money session, you were out last, and you had an opportunity to really get after it, and something silly happened and just eliminated your opportunity. And you handled that so well. Based on what you just said, these are the things that are going to happen as we learn and go through this process. You really have a good perspective on these challenging moments, and the way I see it, once it bites you, it doesn't bite you again, which is very important.
It's very important, and like you said, the run where we shredded the blower belt on the starting line, I mean, that came because it was an odd pulley combination that we had not ran before. I mean, we're talking when you got Torrance and the Capco guys helping you, and you got their tune up, and you have all their stuff. They tune that car. It's tuned like a comp eliminator car. Everything has to be right. So we're down to 2 or 3 tenths of a percent on the blower, and we put a combination on there that we had never ran, and it just so happened we didn't. We don't know that it does this, but it put it right over a bolt on the idler assembly, and when we tightened it up in the staging lanes, it locked it up. Well, we're in the staging lanes. We didn't warm it up after that, so it had the idler pulley locked up. So it's just things like that now we know that combination, we have to be careful. And we clearanced everything after that and made sure it could never happen again. But, like you said, we've ran into some stuff because we're having to just fine tune everything to run at this level. These guys are not joking out here. These are serious. This is a serious deal, and we are too, but we're learning how to win rounds, and you win most of the rounds at the shop,
Yeah, and that's what they say. So let's advance the thought process to the 2019 season, and let's call 2018, the evolutionary year that links 2017 and 2019. How much have you learned, and how well do you feel you are going to be able to compete as you roll out for the 24 race schedule here in not that long? Winter Nationals are right around the corner. You had a lot of learning opportunities, things that just jumped up and bit you in 2018 that you are going to learn from and apply for 2019. Where do you think you guys are at? Tell me about personnel. What do you got coming up?
We have 2 or 3 new, younger guys coming on the team. So we're going to teach them some stuff, and myself, we have Todd Haas coming on from the boat. He ran Tommy's and our, the combination of the boats. He oversees the Top Fuel boats. So he's coming to help us. Him and Rick DeCousin, we've raced together forever, with those 2 guys kind of watching everything and going over everything and being part of it. I think that's going to be the key. Jason McCullough, who was with us last year, is now over Billy Torrance's car, but he was always kind of there with every car. So the whole Capco team, because of the way this works, we still have their knowledge and their help, with all of their help. But Jason McCullough won't be in our lounge like he was every single run, but he'll be with Billy, and then he'll also be helping with us, just like Bobby and Dom and Hogan and the whole group does. The whole group it's kind of a joint effort, and they kind of just make sure we're okay.
No, that is great. And I heard from several different people, that the way the Capco team is doing it is, how do I say it? Like accelerated. You know what I mean? Like if even on the super teams that we know of, if a part typically lasts 10 runs, and I'm just pulling this out of the air, and you're going to understand what I mean when I finish. If a part typically goes 10 runs, that the Capco guys are running the part 6 runs, and that it's an accelerated program that is designed to have everything at their best so they can win. And they went out and were perfect in the countdown. And it's, people are blown away and amazed, and some are troubled and upset, like, oh my gosh, they're taking it to a new level. But when I heard that story, the person I thought about was you. I thought, wow, Scott Palmer is getting really good stuff because of this program.
Well, we used to do last year, not 2018, but 2017, we bought cylinder heads from them. And I'll give you an example. When the seats get, 7,000 or 8,000 low, they take them out. Most people will run them 15 low or whatever, and then have seats put in them. They don't put seats in them. They take them out. They circulate them down to someone else. They buy new ones. They don't, because it does affect the flow of the air and fuel coming in the motor. And they proved it to me this year. We bolted some new heads on, and our car immediately picked up. It immediately picked up, and I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it. So, to be real honest, they've kind of got us on the program of, we may run the rods a run or 2 longer than they do, and the cranks maybe a run or 2 longer, but not much, because you can look at I call it the shrapnel, If you look at the damage control, what you spent in new parts is far less than what you would have spent if you'd torn up 10 motors.
Right. Well, exactly.
So we don't really get a lot of used parts from them anymore. We've been trying to keep the trailer stocked with new stuff. We have new blocks, we have new cranks, new cylinder heads, valves. Everything we run now we're trying to up our level, because if you spend all your time fixing the stuff you tore up, it's hard to make your car run faster. You're chasing the damage all the time. So we're just trying to keep on that path and run our car. We run it a little bit more conservative, because we're not as experienced at the maintenance that they do. Their maintenance level is second to none. It's the best out there, for sure.
Wow. You know, Scott, it's really interesting because you've been coming on the show now for a while from, as you illustrated a minute ago, like, part-time team, people who have a car and you want to run and you're out there, but you're just kind of, doing what you can do to be out there, to a team that's qualifying on a regular basis, to a team that's going occasional rounds and you're learning, you're going through this this learning process and hearing it, like, how else could you possibly learn these things without going through the process? If you had a recommendation to someone who was like yourself 4 years ago, 5 years ago, what would it be? Who would know that it's much easier to, just keep a new stock of parts flowing through and it ends up being cheaper and less work? Like, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, the problem is until you get some sort of budget, you just can't do that. You just have to run used parts that you can afford. And what happens is you chase that. You have trouble. You may burn a chamber in a cylinder head. And so you're chasing your tune-up. So you're riching it up, then it drops the cylinder, then it tears it up. And you're chasing all these problems because if the cylinder has been welded in the chamber, it'll start fuzzing the chamber and burn it a little bit easier. And then you think, oh my gosh, that's too lean right there. We need to lower the compression or put some fuel in it. Then it drops the cylinder. Then you blow the motor up. And, you just chase. And I've done it for 15 years. I chased it. And then once you get a little help, like, without Tommy Thompson, I'd still be just chasing my tail out here, because we finally got to where we got with Torrance and we're all friends and they helped us. But even the parts they cycle out are better than most people can ever buy used. So that helped me a lot. So whenever we did that, we bought their used parts, which have never been welded on. Their cylinder heads don't get welded on and repaired. If you buy a cylinder head from them, it's not repaired. It's the seats may be low, but nothing has been welded on them. So we stopped having some of those problems, and then we could work on other problems and trying to go faster.
Wow. Very interesting. Are you planning to test prior to the Winter Nationals?
Definitely. Yes. We have a brand new car. I just got off the phone with Squig, who's the guy that works with Richie Crampton and Norm and those guys at Lucas Chassis Shop. He just called me 2 hours ago. The car they're welding some tabs on it, and the car will be done by Friday. I'll go up there this weekend. We'll take the car to Torrance's shop, and we will put it together there. This is how much those guys help. We will go to Torrance's shop and plumb and wire this car so it's exactly like Billy's car, Steve's car, Dom's car. They're all sitting in there side by side, and our car's next in line to get plumbed and wired there. And we're going to test our new car at the test session and have our last year's car, which ran a career best the last two runs. So we'll have it and the other trailer upstairs complete.
Wow. Yeah, think about that. You ran career bests back-to-back, your final two runs of the season, and then put it away. That's got to be great momentum for the winter break and just to keep you fired up for the following year.
It is, and I'm nervous. Myself, I told Billy Torrance, he called me the other day and was talking to me about, what plans and, what I need to do. And he coaches me along here on some of the stuff, and I told him, I said, really what I think I should do is take this 2018 car and go right back to Pomona and just repeat that again. I think I should do that. And he says, you put that car in the trailer and you get your butt up here to Indy and get this new car put together. You ran 372 with a car with 130 runs on the front half. That should have been if that had been the new car, it might have run faster, and it may have. So I'm going to take his advice. I'm going to go up there, and Bobby Lagana's, Bobby and Dom are up there. Everybody's up there, and when I get there, it'll just be a mad thrash to get the car done. We'll get it done, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. And those guys, obviously, they are, doing so many great things. I don't know if you saw that very cool Tom Patsis cold hard art piece of artwork that they were given of their dad's ramp truck with the top fuel over the top. But I know people got emotional seeing it on Facebook, let alone what must have happened when they opened that thing up.
It was crazy. I told Gary that's the best gift you could ever give them. When I met them, they raced out of that, and we traveled on the road together. They had just got an enclosed trailer, and it was like they had won the lottery. But they love that ramp truck, and to give them that gift, there's nothing you could do that means more to them than that.
Yeah.
And I called Bobby as soon as they gave him the picture. I called Bobby, and you could tell Bobby's an emotional guy anyway, so that really had him choked up for sure.
Oh, man. I could tell. You just see in Facebook traffic about it, like what an amazing, amazing personal gift that the Langanas get out of that. Scott, I'm super excited for 2019. Still, just about a month out. You're going to be very busy getting ramped up, and then the marathon lies ahead. What is your goal here goals for the 2019 season, seeing as you've made the countdown the past 2 years now? You are, a multi-year countdown player, but there are a couple of things that are still out there that you're looking for. Obviously, race wins, final rounds. We want to see those throttle whacks after a victory. Countdown, lay it out. Like, how do you lay it out for the team, what you would like to achieve here in 2019?
We're actually right now, we're working on winning rounds. We definitely want to win a race, but you have to keep your focus on one round at a time, because it's so hard to win a race out there. But if you don't win one, you can't win two. So we got to concentrate and make sure everything's right. And I think we're on the right path. We've made a few changes, and we're at the shop right now. There's 4 of us here, and we're working on stuff, cleaning it and getting ready to load and go to Indy and finish the new car. And the main goal is going to be, we're going to try to win a race, and then after that one, we're going to try to win another one. I mean, it's hard to win a race out here with these guys, especially when we're a top fuel team in Castello, Missouri. Look that up. I love being where I'm at. Me and Dom, we got us a little shop in Indy. So when we're in Indy, we have a place, a home base, but it's not a Torrance shop or a Ford shop. It's a small shop where we can work on service motors and cylinder heads when we're through town. But I still want to be the local. I want to be the normal guy out here trying to run a top fuel car, which is crazy. It's crazy. I should move it all to Indy and do it that way. But I love doing it this way, and I'm going to keep doing it this way. We're going to keep whacking the throttle. And when we win a race, it's going to be pretty crazy. If you're not there, get on a plane. If you see us win at 4:00, you got time to fly there, because it'll be worth it. We may never go to another race. We'll probably get banned from NHRA, but that's okay. We're going to win this race.
I love it. Scott, I appreciate your passion. I love the fact that Magic Dry is going to be on the side of your car. Tommy Thompson and Catspot did a lot of great things with the NHRA a year ago, and that's exactly what it is. It's everybody pulling together to grow the sport, to give guys like yourself an opportunity to go out there and show that it's possible. And you did, and you are. And I think it is great, and I'm happy, and I'm excited for you as we get ready to start the 2019 campaign.
I think everything's working good, and I don't think this is out yet, but I'm going to let it out. But the Phoenix race, which we runner-up at last year, the Phoenix race will be the Magic Dry race, and the Seattle race will be the Cat Spot race. So Magic Dry Magic Dry especially is going to have a way bigger presence out there. But Cat Spot's still part of the company, so that's still on the car, and we're still pushing it. But those two title races, and they've got a bunch of TV production and commercials coming up, and I think you'll see a lot more of it. So that means we got to get this team up and running, and we want to put it in the winner's circle.
I love it. Scott, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on WFO Radio. Thank you for your support, direct support of the show. We appreciate that, and all the best in 2019.
Okay, everybody come by the pits whenever you see us. Scott Palmer Racing, Tommy Thompson Motorsports, Magic Dry. Think about this. Tommy Thompson helps us do this. Come on. The greatest man in the world right there. So you guys got to come by. He'll be at Pomona. I want everybody to meet him.
There you go. You just booked him for like an hour. Very good. Scott, thank you very much.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Scott Palmer with us here on WFO Radio. And really appreciate the Cat Spot Litter support of WFO, of course, Magic Dry as well. And, I've been out there for a while now, not as long as like an Alan Reinhart or many others before me, but it's been long enough to feel comfortable out there in the pit area. And someplace I always want to go is Scott's Pit. And, Brad Littlefield wrote that great National Dragster column several years ago that kind of led everybody into the world of Scott Palmer. And that opened my eyes in many ways. It was an introduction. And immediately after, I reached out to Scott and have him on the show. And we've become friends. And I focus on that team a lot. And what I will say is that so many runs, so many races, 1,000th here, 1,000th there, a little problem, an issue. And to hear Scott handle it the way he is, look, we're learning. There's a process going on. We're learning. That is great because I know they're going to get there. I really feel confident that they're going to go out there and have a great season. Maybe even win a race. Yeah. And the day that happens, oh, man, cancel the flights. Cancel the flights. Thanks to Scott for coming on the show and, of course, supporting WFO Radio. Magic Dry, Cat Spot, big supporters of WFO Radio. We got Shane Tucker. We're going to delve into pro stock. Shane is coming up. We're going to learn about the, what about the 18-race schedule? Roger Brogdon's coming back in a Mustang, which is very exciting. We're going to have to get Roger on the show. I'm thrilled about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, I want to tell you about Marvin Rodak and Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin is a great guy. That's not the reason you should get coffee from Marvin. It is an added benefit, I'll give you that, because he's a drag racer, he's a drag racing fan. He will point you in the right direction, whether it be some exotic coffees like this Costa Rica black honey that they've got going on. It's very rare. It's got great body, almond, milk chocolate, raspberry, vanilla. Think about that. Or the blends that he makes, like Funny Car Chaos, if you want a drag racing themed coffee blend. Maybe you want to buy a grill. You're in the Fort Worth, Texas area. Grilling tools. He's got all kinds of amazing high-end stuff. Or maybe you just want a 11-ounce coffee mug that says Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Whatever the case is, go to the website, RODAKS, coffeeandgrills.com. Rodak. Check them out. See what you got. Get on board with the coffee. 817-924-6821. It's in Fort Worth, Texas. And Marvin and I, we hooked up on this show. He was a listener. He was listening. Reinhart and I were talking about bacon. He's like, I've got some bacon recipes. And it just occurred to me, like, right now, you know what? I think I need to try some of those bacon recipes that Marvin has suggested really soon, like maybe in the next couple of weeks. 817-924-6821 for Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Loyal WFO radio sponsor for a long, long time because you guys, the listeners, are buying the coffee and checking it out, and you're on board with what is actually good instead of that grocery store stuff. Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. When we come back, Shane Tucker from Down Under after this.
It ain't just wide open, it's WFO.
Hangstafers, metalworking lubricants. The folks at Hangstafers on board with big racers like Antron Brown and Lucas Oil Series, sportsman racers in the Racing RV's Top Dragster category. And their number one goal at Hangstafers is to increase the productivity in the shop. Metalworking lubricants, coolants, all kinds of stuff. You got to go to the website and check them out. And so go to hangstafers.com to find out more information. Alan Reinhart always says, like, the one thing that DSR and JFR have in common is Hangstafers metalworking lubricants. We're happy to have them on board, happy to have them helping our WFO radio listeners in their shop. Hangstafers metalworking lubricants, trying to make you a little more efficient in the shop.
Hey, WFO Universe. Want something for free? Send a self-addressed stamped envelope with plenty of postage, and we'll load it up with free WFO stickers. That's right, I said free. Send your envelope, care of Castello Media /WFO stickers to P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Do it now.
Hey, this is Joe Castello, and we'll be back to the show in a second. But first, I want to tell you about CompetitionPlus.com. There's a reason CompetitionPlus.com is the leader among drag racing electronic magazines. Their trained staff is always on alert and always asking the tough questions. The end result is hard-hitting drag racing journalism with up-to-the-minute reporting. For over a decade, CompetitionPlus.com has been a pioneer as drag racing's go-to source for the latest in news, race coverage, and high-quality photography. Their trained staff thrives on getting the inside stories, and their columnists study their topics before they hit their first keystroke. When it comes to covering the races, they leave you feeling as if you've actually been to the race. CompetitionPlus.com is an honest-to-goodness, free drag racing magazine, published by the most passionate of drag racing fans, who just happen to be journalists. Don't wonder what's going on in the drag racing world. Be in the know daily. Log on to CompetitionPlus.com.
WFO Radio is brought to you in part by Extreme Velocity 3 Drag Racing. Download for your mobile device. Win your way on the show. WFO.
Now back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Oh, yes, we are back. We are now back. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. The podcast is back for 2019. Super excited about so many things. Shane Tucker coming up next. We're going to talk a little bit of pro stock. He's got a new program, all kinds of stuff. He's going to break it all down for us. But right now I want to tell you about samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinist and Technology. Start your education at full speed. We're speaking with Brian Massengill out at PRI and just talking about what is needed right now. I consider myself, I like to be, informed of what's going on out there in the country beyond the racing universe. And people are looking for jobs and careers. And whether or not you want to become a high-performance engine builder, whether or not you want to go and try to get a job at KB Racing, wherever you happen to want to work, or Elite, or wherever they're building the best engines in the world, maybe that's not your thing. But you do need basic training that can get you a job in these fields, and people that know people in the fields. And that's where Samtech comes in. They've got blockhead CNC programs. They've got motorsport EFI. They've got CNC machining. They've got an Associate of Applied Science degree. So if you're a young person coming online, I hate that, young person. If you're coming online and you're thinking, man, I want to do something that I like. I don't want to sit in a cubicle. I don't want to push paper around all day. I want to make, I want to build. I want to have a job that is mine and my own, and I can take it anywhere that I want to go. If you want to go, to the Middle East and operate CNC machines for people, if you want to work for Boeing, if you want to work for a defense contractor, they can provide you the initial skills and connection in many of these arenas. You got to go to samtech.edu to check out the information. They've been recognized as a school of excellence, and you can give them a call, 713-683-3817. That's 713-683-3817. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Tell them, say, I heard about it on WFO Radio, the podcast, WFO podcast. And go through the process, because this is something that can never be taken away. I've seen the campus. I look forward to going down and checking it out. The new expanded campus, they're expanding when we go to Houston. But the fact of the matter is this: you will gain skills that you can use if you want to be involved in racing, if you want to be involved in life. Samtech.edu. Start your education at full speed. All right, time to jump into it. Joining us now, we're talking pro stock with Shane Tucker, who joins us from all the way across the globe. Shane, welcome to WFO Radio. How are you?
Good, Jay. How you doing, man?
Thanks
for having me.
I am great. Thank you for coming on. I am excited about 2019 for a million reasons. One of the reasons I'm excited is that, pro stock, we got this new schedule, and you are jumping in with both feet. Tell us about what you're going to be doing.
I guess with the shortening of the season, it was always a stretch for us to run 24 races. We were sort of a 10 to 12 race car. And when they made the announcement they were going to shorten it to 18, it was sort of, we looked at it basically like, well, we could probably look at the 18 race schedule and make it feasible for us. A lot of the guys in pro stock run businesses, so they make it difficult, to stretch out to 24 races a year. It's almost every second weekend, basically. So for us, traveling from Australia and back is difficult, but I'm going to base myself in Dallas between the races and sort of work out of our office there. So, I'm excited about it, man. It's just one of those things, I guess, when you're a part-time racer, you compete against guys that, race week in, week out, and straight away you're behind the eight ball. I mean, some of these teams, they'll do 100 laps before they'll even go to the first race. And I don't reckon I've made 100 laps in the US over 5 years.
Right. And
So,
that's seat time. Seat time, exactly. All right, we got a couple of different layers I want to unfold because we have many listeners in Australia and New Zealand, and I understand that drag racing is very popular there. But compared to here, we're just a lot more popular. But you had great success down there running an Australian Pro Stock, which uses small blocks, if I understand correctly. And you've been kind of getting your foot in the water, and you ran here a lot and made a lot of moves. Really want to be here. That's what I get out of it. I think of guys like Richie Crampton. I think of others. You want to be here badly and are going through a lot of different changes over the past 4 years to make your American racing career, to launch it.
Yeah, man, it's just, we had a lot of success out here in Australia. Around here from when I was 19 till I was basically 28, 29, so about almost 10 years. And won some big races. Didn't quite win the championship. I think we finished second in our first year by 5 points. But yeah, man, made the transition to come to the US, and it's the pinnacle of any motorsport really around the world. So we want to be there. We want to be competitive too. We like you mentioned, we ran well out here, and we used to run up the front. So when you go to a race, you don't have any intentions to go in and make up the numbers. That's for sure. We want to be up there competing for round wins and potentially race wins. So for that to happen, man, you got to have all the right pieces in place, and it's been definitely a challenge. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, and there are trials and tribulations of things that happen, were going to happen, didn't happen, that, will definitely make you lose sleep. But I'm a big believer in that, things happen for a reason, and you have got a great partner on the engine building side of things in Nick Ferry. Talk a little bit about Nick, how that program came together for 2019.
Yeah, well, I guess I've known Nick many years ago, about 2008. I actually, after I ran my first season in Pro Stock in Australia, I was in conversations with Victor Cagnazzi when he had his program running, and Vic brought me over as a development driver, basically. Unfortunately, things didn't come to fruition with sponsorship. It was a very tough time then in the US, as everyone knows. From a sponsorship standpoint. And at that point, Nick was actually in the shop doing the motors for Jeggy and Dave. And so I've known Nick a very, very long time. And then Nick sort of went out on his own deal with the Dodge guys, and then I guess ended up back at Mike Edwards when Mike won championships. And I guess from then he moved to Elite, where I ended up started leasing motors in 2014 when I first started back in the US. So we've got a fairly long history together. I've got a lot of respect for Nick. It's sort of, Nick's resume speaks for itself. Wherever he's been, the team has been successful. So we're very, very excited about it. Very, very excited, actually. So to have someone like Nick's caliber on board and working with us on the engine program is an exciting thing. I mean, you can be the best driver in the world, but if you got no power, you ain't never going to win a round.
So true. No, it's the purity of it is amazing, and you've already proven that you can turn the clutch loose. It's just about getting the right team in place, and you've got the power now, or at least you're going to be working on getting the power, which is great. I'd like to expand a little bit on the 18-race schedule and kind of get your thoughts on that, because everywhere I go, Shane, I've got someone coming up to me asking about Pro Stock, which I think is great for the category. It shows there's a lot of interest, even in a schedule change. It sounds like a lot of people are concerned, but for every person that is concerned, I've got two that tell me the schedule change is a good thing.
Look, from my standpoint, being a part-timer, I think it's a step in the right direction. I think you're right, Joe, when you say, for every one that's concerned about, you probably got two that are going to step back into it. I mean, one perfect example was Bo Butler. I mean, Bo stepped away from it, and within a couple of weeks of making the announcement, he probably thought it was feasible enough that he could come back into it and run 18 races. I mean, and that's a top 4 car. He won the championship a year ago. So, I guess from a part-timer's point of view, I think it's a great thing. Some of the full-time guys are probably not as ecstatic about it, being that they probably have sponsors that they need to please over 24 races, which I completely understand too. But I mean, from a I guess spectator point of view too, they want to see full fields and they want to see competitive qualifying as well. So, I mean, I can't see it being a bad thing. I guess we're going to see in the first few races how many cars show up in Pomona and Phoenix and whatnot.
Exactly, and the proof will be in the pudding at that, right? You can't. We'll see what happens. But anecdotally, at PRI and others, I've heard a lot of people say a lot of positive things. Maybe even talking about getting involved after, like you said, with Bo. Perfect example. He changed his mind, turned 180, and now he's back, and that is a good thing. Let's talk a little bit about Osmet Architectural. In that, you know, the logo, the business, we see it. You're involved in drag racing. But, you know, what do you guys do? I want to know more about the architectural business that funds your racing or enables you to go racing, because, frankly, if you're trying to grow here in the States, it's good to know about it.
Yeah, so I started the company here in Australia 10 years ago, and we initially started selling particular metal panel material that was offered in the sign industry and used for external, I guess, siding on buildings. From that, we expanded into getting into the installation process, and then we ended up turning into a full turnkey firm that did everything from procure the material, fabricate, and site installate, and then offer warranties and whatnot to the builders. So in 2014, we ran our first season in NHRA, and after the US Nationals on the Tuesday morning, I had an email in from our sales team that contacted me and said, "Listen, you know, we've got an interesting email here from a architect firm in Texas. You probably want to have a read of it." And I guess you take it with a grain of salt whenever we get these emails with these inquiries. You think, okay, how serious can it be? Well, it turns out the architect firm was a 40-year firm, and the guy who reached out was the principal for the firm. And he was a huge drag racing fan. He grew up in Indianapolis and now resides in Texas and does a lot of big projects over there, and suggested that if we were looking to set up in the US, then Texas is a fairly thriving market in the construction industry. And it was a big step, man. I mean, setting up a business anywhere is tough when you're in the same country, but going across, you know, another continent is a whole other feat. It's been a challenge. Texas is a bit of an old boys club when it comes to construction, so which is a good thing. I mean, once you're in there, you're in. But it took a lot of hard work and a lot of years and grinding and whatnot, and had to prove our stripes for sure to get in there. So our business now, we basically hard bid a lot of the projects directly to the GC. And we cover anything from metal panel install. So, for example, on your car dealerships, you'll see the Chevrolets have got a lot of blue features around the entries. That's specifically the product that we do. It's called aluminium composite material. So we design and install that particular material, louvers, sunshades, glass windows. Basically anything on the external facade of the building, that's us. So it's gone from strength to strength. We've got 2 facilities in Dallas now, and we're looking to open a 3rd facility in Houston. So it's exciting, man. The construction industry in Texas is booming, and we're here to take full advantage of it.
That is great, and I appreciate you giving us a little window into the world that happens, you know, between like late Monday afternoon and Thursday morning in between NHRA national events, right?
Yeah, exactly. And look, the racing side of it, it's strategically a business for us. We've had huge success with our hospitality events that we've held in Dallas. We utilize our race program specifically to entertain our guests when we come to town in Dallas. It looks like we're probably going to expand that this year. We've got a new glass handrail product that we're launching around the US called Struck Glass, which is actually the first of its kind anywhere in the world. It's a glass balustrade that can go up multi-stories, over 45 stories, that doesn't require a steel top handrail. So it's pretty unique product, and we're looking to push it around the US, and we're probably going to utilize the race program to do that as well. So we're excited about it, man. We can't wait. And NHRA has been good to us on that front, and we're looking to, like I said, push that program a little bit harder this year.
Oh, well, I think it's great, and that's one of the things is this common bond that we all have, you, me, the listeners to this podcast. Like, we have this passion for drag racing cars, and you're certainly putting your money where your passion is to go out there and compete, hopefully for the countdown and for championship. But in the end, like, someone was watching you and reached out and involved themselves in your profession. I think that speaks volumes of the power of what's going on in the pits at a drag race.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. It's one of those things. As a kid, when I was growing up, and got involved, as I mentioned, with Victor Cagnazzi years ago. Unfortunately, that sort of deal didn't come to fruition, and it shoots you down when you're a kid, 21-year-old kid. All you want to do is go race. So you have your doubts about the marketing side of things, but like you said, I'm a big believer things happen for a reason. And just exactly that, when this opportunity came around with an architect firm, it was one of those things that it took a little longer to come full circle. It's about 5 years. But, I'm certainly a firm believer in it now. I've seen it firsthand with my business now, and obviously that opportunity that presented itself with an architect in Dallas for sure.
Great stuff. All right, let me ask you now. Let's back to the racing in that you got Power, Nick Ferry. What about the rest of the team? Like, who's going to make the chassis calls? Who's going to make the decisions between rounds? That kind of stuff. And you've been building a program. You've been kind of moving around. We understand why. Now that you've put down roots, tell me who the principals are going to be.
Yeah, so one of the other exciting things, I guess, working with Nick is Jeff Isbell out of Utah is running a full schedule this season. And being able to run with another car, I think, is a huge advantage in pro stock, well, in any professional class. Being able to share some information between the two, I think, is huge. And that's going to be one big advantage. But from our team standpoint, Tommy Lee has been calling the shots on our stuff for the last couple of seasons. That won't change. And my dad, Rob's, going to sort of oversee the engine maintenance side and also the tune-up side as well. And then on Jeff's side, Jeff's got Taylor Chemiskey and Gary Chemiskey, who's been around these things, for as long as I've been alive, just about. So those guys got an abundance of experience over there, and it's. I think the boys all working together is really going to be an interesting opportunity. I think they're going to do well. It's one of those things, man. It's a fresh team. It's all new. So hopefully everyone worked well together, and we can have some good success.
Oh, I think it's going to be great. Now that you're in, though, and not that you haven't been in, you've been in and a part of the tour. We certainly, I miss you when you guys are not out there. There was like a period where you weren't, and then you came back, and I think it's great. You certainly add some character. But there's now some sort of a level of ownership in the category with this huge investment that you guys are putting in. Is there something else that you think needs to be addressed, you would like addressed? Like, I'll give you one. We got to have a Mustang or two. And I was looking, you're going to run Chevy Camaro. And I know that there's, rumors who's going to have a Mustang body now that all the the power plants are all the same. Is there anything that you'd like to throw on the table that you'd like to see that you think that Shane Tucker thinks would be a benefit to the category to keep it trending in the right direction or start it trending in the right direction?
Certainly, I think you're on the right track, man. Getting a few more manufactured bodies in there is important. I mean, in the end, in Nitro Funny Car, there's 3 or 4 different manufacturers running bodies, and we know they're all not running a Toyota motor or a Chevrolet motor. So, I think they've definitely made the right call, allowing the other manufacturers to run whatever motor. From a core hardcore NHRA fan, there might not be a lot of people pleased with that, but for the majority, I think they'd love to see the Ford versus Chevrolet battle again, and get some Dodges competitive involved in there for sure, man. And getting new fresh faces involved too. I think once the season starts and everyone's sort of waiting for the season campaigners to sort of see how it all washes out. And I'm pretty sure, 3 or 4 or 5 races in, we're going to see a couple more teams full-time start to jump back into it. I know there's been rumours some guys that have been full-time in the last 2 or 3 years, took some time off for sort of making some noise that they want to come back to. So that's exciting to hear. And I think, come mid-year, you're probably going to see some very, very full fields.
That is great. I am looking forward to it. Now, are you guys going to test before Pomona? Are you going to test, what's your schedule as best as you can tell us?
Yeah, well, I plan on being back the Super Bowl Sunday of Phoenix, and I think on the Monday, Tuesday, we've got a test session scheduled for Phoenix, and then on Wednesday, I'm going to be in Pomona for the PR day, and all going to plan, we'll be in Pomona for the first race, and hopefully we'll be there being competitive as well. So I'm excited, man. It's something that's been a long time in the works, and finally I think the pieces are starting to fall into place. We just got to, keep our head down and keep digging.
What are the goals? Obviously, everybody wants to win the championship, right? Okay, start of the season, we're all tied for the lead and last at the same time. But I'm sure you've been successful in life by setting goals and achieving them. So what do the goals look like from this point?
I think we've got to be realistic in the goals that we've set early on in the season. First step's going to be getting the car consistent and reliable in testing. And then hopefully by the time we go to Pomona, we're in a position where we can qualify. And when you qualify, you get in the top 16, realistically, you got to be within 200 or 300 of the top car to have a chance. I mean, without them having to make a mistake, you could be, there's probably 16 drivers that can be 20 or better on the tree every round. So it's going to be tough for you to be outside of 200 or 300 and have a chance of, getting a round win. So, we need to be within striking distance going into Pomona if we really want to compete for round wins. And then, from then on, if we can get the car consistent and keep moving forward, I'd like to think that, a few races into it, we can start competing for race wins. And then, the sky's the limit from then on. We've got to stay consistent.
Very exciting. Shane, I want to thank you for coming on WFO Radio. I love the fact that you're investing in the sport of NHRA drag racing. You're investing in our country. You guys are coming in. You've been part of the community for a while now, but to see you expand that involvement, it's heartening and it's great and it's exciting for what we got coming in 2019. I wish you the best of luck, of course. That maybe the next time we speak on WFO Radio, it will be after a victory. And get your winter view logged in, right? And we talk a little bit about what happened on a race day where you achieved the ultimate success. I know you got the talent and ability, just a matter of the right pieces in place, and it looks like you've done a whole lot to make that happen. So congratulations on all of that, and thank you for coming on our show.
Thanks very much, Joe. I reckon that interview might have a bit of a headache after that one, but I look forward to it.
Listen, you know what? It's funny you bring that up because 10 years ago, people were saying that the drivers were like these corporate robots that didn't have personalities. And now we've got Steve Torrance, we've got J.R. Todd, we've got all these character guys like yourself, a character, clearly has fun, will definitely have a headache after a great victory, is not afraid to speak their mind, brings a certain image and character to the sport. We've got a lot of cool people. You're certainly one of them. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, mate, what you see is what you get. I'm excited, and I tell you what, if we ever get an opportunity for a round win, then everyone at the race better be there because it's going to be a big party. So thanks, Joe. Appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, Shane. Shane Tucker with us here on WFO Radio. Very excited that they are going to all be out there in the 2019 season for 18 races and run for the championship and get after it. Nick Ferry providing engines and going to be very interesting. Shane is a character. He's a character. He's an interesting individual. He's a character. They got a whole crew out there and, likes to cut up and have fun and goof around. And he's also a very serious person. I was very interested in hearing about the business, Azmet Architectural. Like, what do they do? And when he pointed out the facade or whatever you want to call it on the Chevy dealerships, I knew exactly what he was talking about. That's what they do. Interesting. And, of course, I wish them the best. And, coming into the States to try to do well and going to advance his program in drag racing, I think all good on the Shane Tucker front. I wish them good luck. And thanks for coming on the show. All right, when we come back, I'm going to delve into some general thoughts on the break, my time, kind of dive into a couple of storylines that I think are interesting as we continue moving along. Right now, though, I want to tell you about motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan, Amalie Motor Oil, all of these things going on. Terry McMillan had one of the best seasons of anybody in 2018. 6 final rounds, U.S. Nationals winner, all of that, and launching motorsportsguys.com. You can give them a call, 800-790-7951. If you need filters, if you need oil system products, all of these things, whether it be brakes, drivetrains, they've got all the brands, they've got everything. Go to motorsportsguys.com. And I mean, do it now, right now. Your next oil change, get it from Motorsports Guys. Instead of going out and driving around, order it up. Comes to the house. They've got a warehouse. They're in Elkhart, Indiana. Terry, of course, setting this thing up. Persistence beats resistance, and has been supporting WFO Radio for the 2018 and into the 2019 season. They've still got that Vegas Win Tribute hat, and if you just add it to your cart, use the promo code WFO Radio, it will be zeroed out, and you get the hat for free. How about that? 800-790-7951 for motorsportsguys.com. When we come back, my time on WFO.
Everybody, listen carefully.
Now you listen to me. Why do you listen? WFO, you guys are number one.
Honest. Listen.
Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Whether you're a bracket racer who wants to get better or a thrill seeker looking to cross it off your bucket list, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School can put you on the right track. Don't believe me? Tell him, Frank.
No matter how little or how much experience you have, we've got a program for you. So if driving a dragster is on your bucket list, there's no better time than now. And if you'd like to be a pro, well, here's funny car champ, Jack Beckman.
Hey, this is Jack Beckman. Long before I was Fast Jack, I was a bracket racer who went to the Frank Hawley School. The time I spent there was some of the most exciting, intense, and fulfilling moments ever in a race car. I feel the curriculum Frank developed greatly helped me win not only the Super Comp, but also the NHRA Nitro Funny Car Championship. Frank put me on the right track. What are you waiting for?
Call them at 866-480-7223. That's 866-480-7223. Or visit frankhawley.com.
Android and iPhone users, download the WFO Radio app. It's sports radio for racing fans.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The ultimate racing show, including WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio Ignition, the WFO Radio NASCAR Tailgate Party, news, videos, push notifications, and more.
I just hope I'm part of it.
Go to the App Store or Android Market, search WFO Radio, and download it now.
Hey, this is Scott Palmer, driver of the NHRA Cat Spot Litter Top Fuel Dragster. Do you have a cat? Go to catspotlitter.com, order it today. All natural product, made out of coconuts, 100% biodegradable. All you NHRA fan, cat owners, support our team. Go to catspotlitter.com.
This is Sean from Traverse City, Michigan. You ever get done with an episode of Ignition or Nitro and say, man, that's a good job. I'd like to give them a pat on the back and a cold beer. Well, with Patreon, you can. So send that drink down to Gio and Joe.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Final segment, the first NHRA Nitro of 2019, and we got a whole lot more to come. Hey, want to remind everybody, Motor Trend Network, 8:30 Sunday mornings. Okay, you got that? Motor Trend Network, 8:30 Sunday mornings. Performance TV, Kathy Fisher, myself, in a garage, in a shop, checking out all kinds of new parts, pieces, products. Check it out. It's a very quick half hour, 8:30 Sunday morning. Last week and this week, the SEMA show. The following week's PRI. If you want to see our perspective of what went down at SEMA and PRI, check it out on Motor Trend Network. All right, I'm going to get into my time, but right now, of course, HusseyPerformance.net. David Allen and the team, 724-318-8292. Any bore, any size, any thickness. They make gaskets. Hussey stocks gaskets in increments of 1/1,000th of an inch. Look, you're an engine builder, and it's January. You're working on your stuff. You're putting it back together. You need copper head gaskets. Which ones are you going to buy? Listen, I know you probably have got a long-standing relationship with a company that you've been using, and they've been okay. Hussey is on world champion cars like Sean Bellemere. Hussey does nitro-burning engines, turbocharged Pro Mods, tractor pull tractors, Honda engines, whatever, they do it. And they stock gaskets in increments of 1/1,000th of an inch. If they don't stock it, they'll make it. This allows you to get the exact compression ratio that you're looking for. What you need to do is go to husseyperformance.net or just call David because he answers the phone. It goes right to his cell phone. He's the one who personally inspects every single gasket that goes out. All their machines are made in America, and they support WFO Radio. They are on board all of 2018. It was great to meet David out there at the Gator Nationals, and they go on to great things and win the World Championship. I think that they had great luck for many reasons. Go to husseyperformance.net. If you're a longtime listener and you're going to buy some copperhead gaskets, there's a million reasons to go with Hussey Performance. 724-318-8292. Tell David you heard about it on WFO Radio, and get ready for that 2019 campaign. Big stuff coming out of husseyperformance.net. Thanks to David. And David, his dad, for stepping up and supporting WFO Radio. All right, my time, as in what happened on the winter break, and if you want to hear all the ins and the outs, and I went to Topgolf for the first time and all of that, you can listen to The Ignition Show. And The Ignition Show is getting better and better. It was kind of loosey-goosey and fun. It's not a magazine-style show with interviews, necessarily. The motorsports world is waking up. The Dakar Rally, if you're into that, they're running through the Peruvian deserts. And, of course, the Chili Bowl, the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl, is this coming weekend. And the Rolex 24 is not that far out. But really, we're drag racers, and there's a lot of testing that is going to be going on. But here is a bit of breaking news coming out just as while we do the show. This is why I save this segment to the very end. The I have been burned by breaking news at the very last segment piece of information that I've learned over the years. And this is coming out of NHRA. 8 of the sport's most beloved figures will come together to compete in NHRA's Unfinished Business event during the 50th annual Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gator Nationals. All right, you got that? 8 of the sport's most beloved figures are going to compete in NHRA's Unfinished Business. That's the name of the event, Unfinished Business. Each of the 8 NHRA legends competing in the event will be revealed via social media in the weeks leading up to the Gator Nationals. A new driver will be released twice a week, each week, from now until January 31st, the day after Joe Castello's birthday. That's right. That is right. When the drivers are revealed, NHRA will post images of each driver's custom Toyota Camry, which will be distinctly wrapped to emulate looks inspired by some of the driver's favorite rides. Then, fans will have the opportunity to vote for the first-round pairs they would like to see compete. NHRA President Glenn Cromwell says, "We are all excited to see the legends of NHRA go head-to-head in heated competition. We've been celebrating these icons of the sport for the last year leading up to the Gator Nationals, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see them on the track. Follow the hashtag Unfinished Business on NHRA's social media pages and NHRA.com for updates on the Unfinished Business. Tickets for the Gator Nationals are on sale to the general public. Or call 800-884-NHRA for details. What is this? Legends. So let's imagine some legends. Like who could it be? Who are these legends? What are they going to be doing? Like I can think of legends from like Ocala and from California, and I can think of legends. Okay, now what are they going to be doing? They're going to be in distinctly wrapped Toyota Camrys that are equally prepared. And they're going to drag race each other, man. Think about it. You're going to have this legend and that legend. They're going to be racing. And I'm not guessing as to who they are. And maybe I already know. Or maybe I don't. And in this case, I don't. But I know who the legends are. And so I could probably guess a couple of them. There's 8. And they're going to run in a single elimination tournament. Man, I gotta tweet this one out immediately. This is great stuff. And thank goodness I saved this segment for very last. Because now we can get it out there. And then I'll get into my time. Boom, just like that, it's out there. Do you follow WFO on Twitter? Do you follow WFO Radio on Instagram? Do you follow on Facebook? Look, social media, I think the tide of social media is receding slightly, right? Like the people who want to be on there are on there. The people who are not on there, they are living their lives just fine. But there is so many great stories and information and parts and pieces, things that you never knew you could follow along with. I was just speaking with one of our listeners, Rod, who called in on the Wide Open Line, and he's like, grew up at Miami Hollywood Speedway years ago, and he's got pictures, and he wants to send some pictures. I'm like, hey, man, don't send me the pictures. Just post them in the Facebook group, and you'll be able to check out Miami Hollywood Speedway. There's a whole group of people posting pictures from Miami Hollywood. Perfect example. But definitely follow all the WFO stuff so you can catch up with the shows. And yes, we blast out the shows out there on a regular basis. We do it on a regular basis. But all right, let's get into it. NHRA 2019. So far, the silly season rumors are great. And when I was doing the NASCAR radio thing, years ago, Alan referenced it a little bit earlier. Not everybody knows that I did 5 years on XM, did NASCAR radio, and then we created a show called Power Shift, and that's where Alan and I started doing segments together. It was in from 2004 to 2009, basically, and that's what gave me inspiration to do NHRA Nitro. It was 1 day a week on satellite radio. I worked there 5 nights a week, but we had a Formula One day, we had an open wheel day, we had a IndyCar day, we had a Formula One day, we had NASCAR days, and we had an NHRA drag racing day. And I realized that niche programming where, we have enough drag racing fans to create shows, maybe not have a whole network, but certainly to keep things going. And more importantly, that's how you grow the sport. That's how you grow it. You give the diehards something to talk about. And that's what we're always challenged. Giving them stuff to talk about. What is our silly season about? And I used to get so annoyed. That, silly season stories would start coming out prior to the conclusion of the season. Because it steps all over what you should be talking about. There's all that controlling your messaging stuff that most people don't think about. They just want all the information, like binge-watching information. You want all the information as rapidly as possible, whatever it is. But with everything, like this Unfinished Business Legends Tour, that thing we just talked about, there's a rollout of information. And so crew chiefs and who's going where and what kind of car is someone going to be driving and all of that, I always felt like it was bad to have that stuff come out prior to the conclusion of the season, because during the countdown, or NASCAR's playoffs, as they call it, you want all the energy focused on the story that's on the track. And for a while, we didn't have that. Well, this year, I'm feeling, not that there has been, bad stories in the past, but we have a lot of stories to talk about, and it's great because most of them are emerging right now. Who's going to be where, and Brian Hewson and Mike Salinas, for instance. Mike Salinas, to go a little bit deeper into that. Getting to know Mike a little bit over the past couple of years, and he has yet to be on WFO radio, and this is the perfect time to do it now, in the coming weeks. This guy is, first of all, nice man. Not everybody's a wonderful person. This guy is. He's a driven, determined, hard worker. He's got a great family. They're all there. He's bringing his whole family into the sport, multiple categories. This is what they want to do. And so, of course, they go out and get Alan Johnson and Brian Hewson to make a run at a championship. That's what they're doing. And it's just exciting. Kelly Klontz. Kelly's up on NHRA.com. They've got Steam Fitters Local 602 to get Kelly and Chris out there for the course of this season. That's great. You've got people working hard, making moves, making things happen to be a part of NHRA drag racing. And to me, that is just super exciting. Like, what's going to happen? What are we going to see? This Blake Alexander story. I reached out to Blake, like, hey, what's up? Radio silence. Why? Well, there's something brewing. What is it? People know. What is it? It's exciting to think about who is going to be out there chasing a championship, chasing after success at the Lucas Oil Winter Nationals not long from now. Of course, the big test, it's getting started on January 30th, I believe, which is, as I mentioned, the big day of birth So many cool things going down. I'm excited about Brian Loans in the TV booth. I'm excited about, what does that mean for me? I'm going to have to do more. We're going to have new voices. We're going to have new faces. We got new energy. I've been saying it for years now. And I also feel and sense that the tide of negativity, speaking of tides, the tide of negativity that we see so often in drag racing. And there's people that they post and they're negative and they, this is not good and that's not good. There are fewer of them now than there were 2 years ago, and there are fewer than there were 10 years ago because people see and sense what's going on. The sport of NHRA drag racing is never going to be what NASCAR was. NASCAR blew up into a giant thing in a multi-billion-dollar industry and now is receding a little bit, but still the most popular motorsport in America considerably. Just numbers and ratings and otherwise. Just got to get cut into half of their numbers. And all of a sudden, you're very successful. And that is the goal everyone's got on their minds. And so, going to be very interesting to see. I have been made aware that I will be out there for 24 races. That is certainly the plan as of this moment. So I'm excited to get out there to all the tracks and see all the listeners and all you folks that have been so helpful on WFO over the course of the season. I am excited about that. And we are going to get it on and get out there and just hit the tour as best as we can. How about that whole Mountain Motor Pro Stock thing? Getting ahead of the message a little bit. That's one where, what happened? The Aruba team has got a story. It's on Drag Racing Edge. It's on Drag Illustrated. People have picked it up, and it's confirming something that I haven't heard yet officially. Like, there's going to be Mountain Motor Pro Stocks at 4 races. Is that true? I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. But just the business of the drag racing industry. Who's in, who's out, who's doing what, when are they doing it, where's it going, who's going to be on board. Palmer switching to Magic Drive from Catspot, really going to be both. But it's just very interesting to see it all play out. And most specifically, the Gator Nationals. I want to talk about that, but I got to tell you about Hankstafers. Metalworking lubricants. Saw the guys out there at the PRI trade show. Just got so many things going on. They stay ahead of the technological trends, and Hankstafers manufactures highly refined petroleum, synthetic, vegetable-based products. Whatever your needs, they have available the best products to improve your metalworking processes. So look, you're in a shop. You're cutting, you're making, you're building, you're doing. Folks at Hankstafers, they have a goal. They want to make you more efficient while doing it. They have over 100 affiliates throughout the world. It's a global network. It's integrated with their research and development teams, the R&D. They've got a technical sales team to help support you. And they've got stock all around the world. So are you down under in Australia and you're thinking about, what can help our factory work better? Go to Hankstafers.com and find out some more information or give them a call, 856-468-0216. Or just start out at Hankstafers.com. Or toll-free in North America, 800-433-LOOP. Working with these folks, seeing what they've done. They're helping out the Sackman family. Matt and Zach Sackman. They're on board with Antron Brown and Don Schumacher Racing. They're also on board with John Force Racing. That tells you all you need to know. That they have got a good product, but most importantly, they are supporting the sport of drag racing and the racers that make it all happen, including WFO Radio, Hankstafers.com. Check them out. New concrete at Gainesville Raceway. New concrete. I can tell you, I'm not the most knowledgeable person about the Gator Nationals. I go and I have fun, and I remember going in the first race, and then they're kind of a blur. 1980 was my first. I was 7. And, 81, 82, 83. I remember little bits and pieces. And when my dad and I go to Gainesville, we drive. And it's a 4.5 to 5 hour drive, depending on traffic. And so we always rehash memories of what happened. You remember when Garlitz and Muldowney ran first round? Yeah, well, we do. Because the traffic was so bad on that given year. And it was prior to them totally figuring out exactly how to get everybody in and out of there, right? We got stuck in the traffic and missed first round. And there was no NHRA All Access. There was no way to find out what happened. There was no way, except here comes Garlits pulling out. And that's how we found out who had won the first round race. And it was like, wow. That, come on, I'm a Garlits guy. No offense to Shirley. Shirley's in my later years loved Shirley, but back then, no way. Big Daddy, man. And she beat him. She whooped him. And, the Snake, he goes out and, he's not there for a year. And then he comes back and he beats Bernstein in the Batmobile, goes on to win the race. Return of a legend. Don Campanello, pro stock. Dad's talking to this guy. This is a guy from Jersey. And I grew up in South Florida, but I was raised in New Jersey. And you may not understand that if you're from around the country, but southeastern Florida, where I live, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, all of those areas, it's a northeastern outpost. When we do our Yankee roll call show, we call it the southern tip of the Yankee Empire because the New York Yankees spring trained down here. You'd see Joe DiMaggio putting gas in his car. There he is, the Yankee Clipper he's eating, that Seinfeld episode. We lived that. Joe D at the deli den. You don't know what that means, but it was reality. And so Dad would, always be talking about Jersey, everything Jersey, and Don Campanello, Wayne, New Jersey. And so Dad would go talk to him, and we were talking to him, and then, he was staying in our hotel, the Holiday Inn. But that race got rained out. We came back the following week. They rescheduled event. I'm going down to the pits every round. Next thing you know, Campanello is in the final round against Butch Leal and wins on a red light. And I got to be in the winner's circle photo. So why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you the arc of Gainesville Raceway with me personally and into the 90s and great success. The Scott Coletta blowover, Blaine Johnson victory, Under the Lights, all of these things, these milestones. But recently, going to the race has been more of an exercise in seeing what's going on with, enjoying the sport, loving the sport, going out there, but for whatever reason, not connecting with the milestones of the past. 260 miles per hour, Top Fuel funny car. 270 miles per hour, Garlits with the belts, the Kevlar belts on the front, Swamp Rat 30. 300 miles per hour, Kenny Bernstein. Those record-breaking performances, and there are countless others. They weren't happening anymore. And we always lamented that a little bit. The weather is always good. It's cool. It's cold. The track wasn't holding it. And so to see them announce that they're going to invest, this is NHRA's money. This is their track. That they're going to make this track as good as they can. And hopefully go back to the record-breaking Gainesville that we grew up with. To me, that's exciting. That is exciting. Because it's always cool for the most part. Maybe not quite as hot as it might be. You get some good weather out there. I know I froze out there a couple years ago doing WFO from the Nitro Fish trailer. But I am excited, and seeing the photographs, and in the coming weeks, we're going to have some people on to talk about it, to give us some insight into, how it's being done and what's being done and why is it being done this way and all of that. And so how many tracks have been resurfaced in the past couple of years? How much investment has gone into the sport of NHRA drag racing? A lot. So it's a very exciting time in the world of the NHRA here at the start of 2019 and beyond. I want to mention audible.com/WFO Nitro. If you have yet to start your 30-day free trial, you should definitely do it. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. Get on that so you can be listening to things other than WFO. I don't know why I'm telling you to do that, but if you're a listener, I don't think you mind. You're not going to be cheating on us. You're going to be participating. So go to audible.com/WFO Nitro. And if you have yet to download the WFO app, please do it. Write us a review. Reviews are important. On Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast, write us a review, especially for the app. Enable push notifications so we can let you know when the phones are open if you want to call in the Ignition Show. And if you have ideas, concepts, thoughts, guest ideas, all of that, you can email me, joe@WFOradio.com, or call them in, 954-889-6796. That is our wide open line. And Rod He called in. He's like, I got pictures from Miami Hollywood. Call me back. And I did, just like that. So I find out exactly what he's got. And I always say this. You can record into your mobile device your own voice. Hey, Joe, this is Roger. And I'm going to be out in Brainerd. And this is what's up. And email it to me. If I can do anything here in 2019, I want to improve interaction with the audience. We're going to give you guys more of a voice as best as we can. 954-889-6796, joe at WFOradio.com. Hey, big thanks to Scott Palmer. Big thanks to Shane Tucker. Big thanks to Alan Reinhart. And early on in the show, I speculated a little bit about Ashley Sanford, how many runs she had. And during the show, I just sent her a text to find out. 50 plus. So around 50, which is what we guessed. Around 50 runs, including everything that's going down there in Australia. So halfway to the goal. They say you need to get 100 runs as rapidly as possible. Very, very cool. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. If you're listening in the WFO app, you don't have to do anything. If you're listening on SoundCloud, just stay right where you are because the next show is going to play and you can catch up. We've changed the numbering system on the shows a little bit. This is WFO Radio NHRA Nitro 2019, number 1. So if you fall back, you'll be able to catch up real easy. You'll be able to catch up real easy. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO Radio.